Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? Welcome back to the Shuffle Squad. Zach Lesage here, back with more post-rotation decks. So if you haven't got a chance to check out part 1 of this video, be sure to check that out. I covered 4 decks, Mega Lucario, Cynthia's, Garchomp, and more. In this video, I'm going to cover more decks. Expect 4 to 5 decks per video. Not sure how many videos I'm going to make, but I think probably like 3 or 4 of them, as long as I get around time for it. In these videos, I'm just going to be sharing deck lists based off what I've seen on City Leagues, and then we'll really go from there, see exactly what is going on. So the lists are going to be available in the pinned comment, and you can copy and paste them right into Limitless. There might be some Japanese cards here or there, so obviously you can't import those into PTCG Live, but that sounds great. Give this video a like, share, subscribe, and let me know which deck you are rocking with post-rotation. Now, kicking things off, we have a new archetype, Team Rocket's Honchkrow from Ascended Heroes with Porygon-Z, or Z, depending on where you are in the world. I'm Canadian, so it's Z, but I think it's Z when it comes stateside. Now, this deck is all about discarding Rocket's supporters, right? So you may discard any supporter number with any supporters from your hand with Team Rockets in their name, and you kind of just search them with Pokegear, Rocket's Transceiver, etc. So Pokegear is kind of like the 5th one. And as you discard them, maybe if you discard 5 of them, you hit for 300 with Brave Bengal. That's enough to knock out a Dragapult EX. Porygon does a lot of damage based off of the supporters that you have in your discard pile. So you get this whole like interesting take of just pitching a bunch of cards and then doing a lot of damage. We've seen decks like this do well before with like Garbodor based off things in your discard pile. This might be the way to play a deck like this, but we'll have to see how it ends up playing out. I think it, like, arguably it seems a little bit weaker than what we'd want to see from a deck like this. However, we do see Team Rocket's energy, Ignition energy. So you do have these single energy attacks, and you are able to just like attack. So I think it has like the right base, although I think this one might be a little bit too much cooking involved with it. That's my personal take on the deck. However, I do think it seems quite strong. I could see myself cutting Psyduck from this deck. I did want to have a decent answer to Dragapult Dusknoir. However, maybe you already do enough with Rocket's Feather, and you don't need to worry about the Dusknoir pieces. However, single prize card Pokemon do often struggle with those big HP Pokemon that can blow up your little guys. So that's what we got going on for this. Let's see what deck I've cooked up next. Similar to Dragapult Dusknoir, we have an old returning favorite, Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX. Now, we saw Marnie's Grimmsnarl win a regionals this season in Merida, so we know it's got to be proven to be successful, but it comes down to, what did it lose from rotation? I think one of the biggest cornerstones of our format was Arven. Arven allowed a lot of decks to see success, and a lot of the decks that played Arven actually rotated out, such as we saw some Gardevoir decks, we saw some Charizard decks, and Marnie's Grimmsnarl was also a deck that played that. So now it's replacing Arven with Team Rocket's Petrel, a card that's really rising in popularity. I thought that Drayden would be a really good card here. I mean, we saw some lists, some City Leagues lists that are playing Drayden. And lists are going a little bit more rare candy based because we're directly searching for those pieces. We also have the Spike Myth Gym, which does allow us to kind of search for our Marnie's based pieces. And the deck should just be relatively the same strategy between using Frostlass to tick damage counters off Pokemon with abilities, including your own, putting that damage towards your opponent's Pokemon with Monkey Dory, and trying to aim for some knockouts. No Technical Machine de-evolution. However, we do have some decent, like, strengths here. Like, we have Unfair Stamp. I mean, we did see Secret Box before, but I think, again, without Arven, we're not necessarily searching for those pieces. So overall, I think this deck didn't get affected too much by rotation, which means it's probably going to be on the upper echelon of the decks in the format. I think this has got to be like a tier 1, tier 1.5-ish deck off the top. We also gain the benefit of the 70 HP Snorunt from Ascended Heroes, and of course, Pokepad can search out the majority of your deck, excluding Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX. But luckily, we do have Spike Myth Gym and Drayden. to be able to search those out. I have seen some lists that cut like a Buddy Poffin for an Ultra Ball, but like maybe that's good to search with Petrol. I think those are like going to be where I get more like fine tuning and tinkering now that I have these lists created. So stay tuned for more of that as we go forward. But if you are looking for a deck to kind of invest in right now, that could be good post rotation or might be your choice. If you're a believer in Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX, that just might be the deck for you. One of the coolest things that I've seen going into our post-rotation format is the return of Festival Lead. Now, I remember when Twilight Masquerade originally came out, I was somewhat of a believer of this deck. I went to a League Cup in Los Angeles. I was testing with my friends Ian and Bodie, and we saw the potential of this deck. Max Belt hitting for extra damage now. It might end up being Cope because you might struggle with Dragapult Dusknoir. You might struggle with Mega Starmie. However, we do have Shaman and we do have Psyduck to kind of block some of those things going on there. I mean, with Festival Grounds being a necessity in this deck, we don't really have the option to run Battle Cage. However, I do think doing the wave over and over again, and if you have Festival Grounds in play, using it all over again. Using Boom Boom Grove to search out things that you need, having Seeking to do a decent bit of damage, drawing cards, and of course Black Belt training and Kieran, Brave Bangle, Max Belt. This deck really can hit for some good numbers. This might be a really kind of under the radar pick. I know it was like doing pretty decent at some of the early city leagues, and as the decks have kind of started to take off and the metagame starting to form in Japan, maybe this deck isn't doing as well, but I do think it's worthwhile to pick up the cards. Like, this is one of those decks where, like, I think Max Belt is probably on the rise and Pokepad's not really a great example, but outside of those cards, I think you could literally go to the store with $10 and come back with change when it comes to building this deck. Everything else in the deck is really low cost. So if you are entering Pokemon for the first time, I think you could probably put this deck together for like $30 to $40 once Pokepads go down a little bit. Right now, that's going to be one of the more expensive cards from Ascended Heroes. But I think this deck could be effective. I definitely could see someone making day 2 at a regionals with it. I mean, we've seen people make day 2 with it at a regionals already. So if we've already seen proven success in the past, there's a chance that we see it in the future. Seems a little bit better formulated in the metagame right now. Festival Lead. One of the absolute newest decks that we're seeing in our format is Mega Starmie EX. Now, for those of you who don't know necessarily what this card does, I mean, the link is in the description and you can kind of click on the Limitless link and it's all translated cards there if you just scroll up under the card. However, you're doing 120 and you're doing 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon on their bench. And then you do 210 for 3 energies. Now, based off of this build, we're not really going for that 210 attack too often. However, I do believe it's not affected by weakness or resistance. It might be any other effect, so it might be able to go through something like a Cornerstone. Not that I'm really worried about going through a Cornerstone with an ability-less Pokemon, but you get the idea. So this deck's kind of like Buzz Wool GX back in the day, where you're hitting for damage up front, damage on the bench. We've seen it with cards like Dragapult's EX, Marnie's Grimmsnarl. What makes this different is we are a Mega Pokemon, has more HP than both of those. It's only 1 energy, and we're worth 3 prize cards. We have access to Frostlass. We are a water-based deck, which means we also have access to Mega Frostlass EX, so we can do some damage based off of the amount of cards that are in our opponent's hands. We have Monkey Dory to play some damage counters around. And we have a suite of cool cards. I mean, having access to Crispin, yeah, maybe we can hit that 210 damage attack. 120, 50, then bring it up. 120 plus 210 is a magical number in this format. So we can hit for some decent things. We have access to risky runes. I went with Legacy Energy just to kind of take away from our prize card footprint when it comes to this matchup, or any matchup. So I think it could be cool when it comes down to it. Like, this deck seems like it has some potential, might be a little bit more higher tiered than some of the other decks. It seems like it's slipping down in like a little bit of play as we've kind of gone back and forth in the metagame, but I do think that there is potential here. So it's like, from Ascended Heroes, I'm going to pick up the Mega Frostlass. from Perfect Order, I'm going to be picking up some Starmie cards. I mean, they seem like it seems good, right? It's definitely like seems top 10ish at the very least. So that's the way that I usually gauge a deck. Should I be building a deck is in the top 10. Normally I get the cards to build any deck that's like relevant, but I usually will pick up the cards, especially for the top 10s right away. So in terms of decks, that's what we got going on for today's video. Another 4 decks. Like I said, I do have another part 1 of this video, and I should have some more content coming out as well for more post-rotation decks, whether you're preparing for EUIC or you're looking forward to the North American International Championships. I got you covered when it comes to content. I'll try to be as consistent as possible. I'm literally leaving for EUIC tomorrow. So again, I'm gonna try to make the videos as consistent as possible, but when it comes to any international travel week, it is what it is. So that's what we got going on for our video. Give this video a like, share, subscribe. Let me know what deck you're rocking, and catch me for more great content. We'll catch up with all y'all soon. Peace out, and have a great one. Want to support the Shuffle Squad? Be sure to check out all of our sponsors in the description to pick up Pokemon TCG singles, sealed, and PTCG live codes. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed the content that we have today, and maybe you'll click on one of these other videos, enjoy those videos too. If you haven't already, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments what video you want to watch next. Until next time, we'll catch up with all y'all later. Have yourself a great day.